Okay, hi. My name is Vavine, and I'm gonna be drawing a barn watercolor. But right now, I'm gonna take you guys through the whole process. So I have a sheet of paper, a ruler, a 6B pen because I really suggest a solid dark lead color to begin this process of drawing a watercolor. And then obviously I have my water, which I don't really need, but some water to drink too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is establish a vanishing point, because what I'm going to be drawing is actually going to be a physical structure. And so when I'm thinking about this physical structure, I'm thinking about the perspective and how the perspective might contribute to the emotion I want to convey. So currently I'm thinking of a forward view because it's so traditional, and furthermore a forward view of a physical entrance, a forward entrance, and that would be in the traditional style of just a vanishing point that is attached to, you know, the fence and the actual house structure. So I'm gonna go over to this top right corner and I'm gonna establish that dot, and then I'm gonna move on to my idea of where I want the house to be. And when I want to think about where the house is gonna be, I'm gonna establish a line that's gonna be my actual horizon line. So my horizon line is going to be pretty adjacent to the ground. And also, while thinking about this, I'm also thinking about where I want my fence to be, because I want my house to be visible and I want my fence to be visible, but I also really appreciate vegetation and that beauty of it. I'm considering multiple things right now. I'm wondering if I want to do sort of, you know, fence forward perspective, or if I want to do a kind of relaxed perspective. I know I'm talking a lot about the art, but I haven't thought about this, and so I really want to make sure that I convey what I want to. So if I just go in and kind of have fun ideas and even base it off the mistakes I've made so far, I think I want sort of inroad coming in like this. And obviously, as we think about our vanishing point, if we think about this line, when we look at this from the perspective of the audience, this would actually be getting smaller. So as we come closer to our house, which I think I want to be about where the vanishing point is, but like I said, I want a fence. So when I think about this fence occurring, it's going to be around here, right? These are lines, rough lines without the ruler present, just because I really started to draw with getting an idea of what I'm going to draw. So that's what I'm going to do here. And so the next thing I'm going to create is that forward standing line to establish where my house is going to be. And so that would be here, and I want the end of my house to be about here. And so having these ideas, I'm going to move on to what really excited me, and that is marking out the vegetation just so that I don't waste my time. And so I'm thinking of making a bush here, just in case any of my ideas for this vegetation become, you know, a little too much. Also, I do have to consider that this is the canvas that the watercolor will be on. And as you can see, this canvas is approximately just a little bit over here, shorter compared to the actual thing that I'm working with. So I wouldn't apply vegetation here in this corner that's not even picked up by the camera, but here, or, you know, really too far off. So vegetation I'm considering is just bush stalls, because like I said, I really wanted to emphasize that, you know, what a lot of old homes used to do, they used to have trees that establish the property line, and I really want my kind of fencing and other ideas to shine out here. So I think I'm going to establish this idea of what was going to be a fence as an actual tree. And I'm just going to start with a large base trunk, move those lines up slightly, getting them to be a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to establish the branches that I want so far, and then I'm going to establish that circle that is so uniquely known as being a part of a tree, because that is just the initial beginning. And so now that I have these basic shapes that I like, I'm gonna go in my ruler and I'm gonna take these shapes a little further to convey a house. And how I take these shapes further is by connecting back to my vanishing point and getting a relative idea of how I'd like these shapes to look. But before I do that, you know, each step, we can think about this as steps of basic shapes, basic ideas. And this is that idea that we want to connect our lines, and we want to make our house a roof. So this is going to be the roof. Yeah. It's just going to be a simple house. There's actually some really interesting double roof homes. But I think I might try a double roof idea. And then you can see these lines are turned out to be more interesting than I wanted them to be. But I'm gonna go for a double roof house because I think the size turned out to be large, and I don't want this to come across as a barn or anything. I want it to come across as a house. So to do that, I'd rather convey another kind of like double roofing of a home. It can occur when, you know, there's multiple rooms in a house. That vanishing point is definitely really interesting, the way it's coming out. But right now I'm just gonna work with it. Okay, I'm gonna make a line here. Make a line here. And yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. The next thing I'm going to do is the same thing on the other side. And as you can see, this line would not be visible, so we're going to go up here and see what's visible. Okay, made a line there. And considering the relative size, I'm not going to continue that line. If you think about it, you can continue that line all the way to the vanishing point, and then observe as to where you'd like to stop that line. Okay, and now I have my lines. I have even, you know, the rectangular shape of the house. And if you think about it further, maybe to bring some complication to this, I'm going to add the doorway to see if we want this doorway to come out. So I'm going to start the doorway line here. Then I'm going to draw a line to the vanishing point over here, and then another line to the vanishing point over here. And yeah, I think that shape adds character to the home, so I'm going to add another line here and another line here. Okay, and the final line going over here. Okay. Now we have more of our basic shapes inserted. I'm going to move on to erase some of these lines and get a better idea of the shapes that we're working with. interesting topics to speak of. But now that I'm kind of thinking and I'm, hitting record, I'm like, I don't really know what to talk about. I mean, but guys, my days are not that interesting. But I recently got accepted to Cal State Stanislaus, which I think is really good for me. I'm excited about that. I just don't usually have an awning like this. I think oops. Okay. Anyways, but I'm really excited about that. And earlier I was just thinking about life stuff, and I was like, why not pull out a camera while I'm thinking about all of this so that I can kind of talk and draw and not totally be considered to be like insane when I do that. I already know kind of what tray I want this to be. So, yeah, okay. The tree is a real nice break from establishing some of these other lines that I created, because now as an artist I get to take time and add textural elements and more exciting things to this art piece. I always remember I put it. I don't know if I'm ready to go in with the eraser because I'm still working with these trees. And so there's our road, and I'm just going to establish the shape of the fence. Okay. And so now I'm going to start working with my fence area. Just making those initial lines that'll really come out to be, important when we do our fence. And as you can see, I'm not making too much of it, and this is the time where I can have a drawing subject and get excited about talking about something. So right now, lately, I've been thinking a lot about relationships and how relationships have either like changed or affected me from my past. And even though I'm not totally knowledgeable enough to label a relationship as toxic or non-toxic, I think that when I've gone through my life and I've seen that, that negative attachment, I can tell that it's becoming like a bad relationship, like a really negative, bad one that I don't want to be a part of anymore. But, it's so scary when you do that, because when you do that, you're like still unsure. I'm not the type to block someone, so when that feeling comes across, I just say it. And when you just say things, you can kind of start that process before you've even accepted it yourself. And so, you're meanwhile thinking, we can still work this out. If I just tell you about it, we both know each other and we can fix this. And then you kind of go through the motions and realize, oh my god, this is like unfixable. Like, neither of us were prepared to admit it, but this is not gonna work. And so, I don't know, when that happens, I just think it's such a shock, and it's kind of funny looking back, because now you're like, well, Guess who's living? Guess who's living, even though you thought it was gonna be hard or you thought it was gonna be awkward. But you know, I'm really proud of myself for just making it through, because that's like the most important thing. Even if you feel, even if you feel really disappointed, you know, it's all about, you know, making it through. So yeah, my butt is like anyways. But also, I mean, I can talk about kind of more tea. If anyone else has seen the other side of the internet, where we've gone into, you know, really debating whether we should even be on the internet anymore because of how many people we support, and then are surprised when they get involved in controversy. And I think that can be something that is kind of repeated through life, when you kind of idolize somebody and then they turn out not to be that great. You know. But when it happens, it's like, do we blame everyone? Because then it's like, well, you know, a lot of people are actually really disappointed by this occurring. You know, it's not just myself that is disappointed. There's like a whole plethora of people that now their lives are also different. And so as an artist, I don't like to really make myself a victim to, well, this is really disappointing or this is really disheartening. I just like to kind of move on. Because one thing is, it can affect your work, it can affect your personal life, and even though I don't like to participate in complete denial, it's like, I'm not going to make my life stressful to please the people that want me to be like sad and in sorrow because, you know, a certain thing that I watched regularly is not really vibing with my playlist. Because once you know something, you know, you can't really unknow it, you know. And so I just like to make that decision to kind of unknow it and not, you know, whatever it's called, you know, unknow it in peace or forget about it. I don't know. Whatever the word is for just letting go, I'd rather do that. And so even though I'm so excited to kind of be my own person, like, these things really worry to me. They kind of get to me, where I'm like, I could be that disappointing person because of who I am, you know, because of what I might believe in or what beliefs I might subscribe to. I can become that person to other people, and I think that's really scary. And I think a lot of selfish people don't think about that when they start media. They're thinking, you know, this is the easiest way for me to be like the worst fucking person possible and get away with it. Because there's so many people, statistically, at least one or two people is even gonna stay by my side if I fucking commit the worst sins in the world. And so it's like, you know, those type of people are predators, and those type of people make people fear social media as a predator making machine. And that's just how it feels sometimes when it just won't stop. These people with numbers and fame don't take the first chance to rectify behavior. It takes years of distrust to be clearly established before any wrongdoing is ever admitted. And it's like, what's the point of that? Now it makes you think that every person is a bad guy. We just know that's not true. So I had some chicken for dinner. I'm really like thinking, because I watch a lot of live stream videos, and so maybe I should have live streamed this, but I think I watch a lot of live stream videos, so I see people live streaming, and I think about how the hell they're able to be like, do, like, I'm talking so much, I'm not getting tired. But I think it's kind of like what you're doing is interesting, I think, and they get to react to media too, so they're having so much more fun than I am. See, I really am interested in doing this, and it's just something I wanted to try to do. And when you're an artist, sometimes I think people either jump the gun, or people either grind down and do what they have to. I'm the type of person, I don't jump the gun. Like, give me again 10 of those, fantastic. But do you want to know what's in them? I don't. Oh, you know what? Tell me what's in them. Fantastic. Give me 10 of these. And I'm that type of person, like, all the way. And so, yeah, maybe I should. I don't want to. So, extend that vanishing line. Okay, the horizon line. Whew. I mean, I really think it's interesting how the fitness community is like all about like oneness and like working with each other to fulfill our fitness goals, while there are people that literally embody the kind of toxic behavior that a child who doesn't have the access to knowledge does. And I think that's why people villainize the fitness community on the internet without understanding it. But it's like I would do the same if I saw the behavior without the understanding. And so, yeah. What I'm doing right now is making some windows, kind of having fun with that. Looking at art is you can definitely choose to make things complicated or not as complicated as you'd like. So, what I would say as an artist with these little things, I trust in myself and my decisions about them. I wouldn't be super aggro, about being like, you know what, I need help with this, or you know what, I don't need help with this. I would just make my own decisions, because one thing is, no one can tell you what is best for you besides yourself. And so once you find the new best, don't walk away from that just because other people tell you, what should and shouldn't be done. Like, certain things, feel free to listen to them, power to the people, like, of more serious things than not, It's like, I think what's so important about life is, like, reaching out. And, like, people may get tired of you. I'm not saying when you reach out, everyone's going to be so excited to get another slice of your business. But when you reach out, there are going to be people there that are going to, like, seriously, like, change your life and give you ideas that you never thought were possible just because you didn't think to reach out till now. So I like to add roofing to these types of things, but I don't like to be totally and completely invested in it. Because, you know, roofing is a really small detail. So yeah, when I'm in my private life, I think that people make a lot of presumptions about me just because of the way I can be, but you know, I make a lot of presumptions about people, so I'm not very upset about it. I just think it's kind of interesting when you put all the math together and you're like, what, really? Some people really, really kind of get it wrong, which I think is pretty bad, you know? Because it's always the people that get it wrong that want to talk with other people about it. And, you know, that's like kind of a dick move, Joe. Yeah. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. Because it just changes everyone's view on you when it could have just been one view to kind of disband from your presence. And so this is how it's looking so far. To bring that tree back into view, possibly. Oh, my hip. Sorry, I definitely sound like an old woman, but I'm actually really like young, like baby phase right now. But as we know, there are literally people who are young and achieve. I mean, just really fucking achieve. Like they go for it, and it's as if they were prepared the whole time. Just kidding. Again, those people, I like to think of them as just old souls. You know, we're over here thinking they're like burning time, but really they've been waiting for these opportunities that they take. And when you think of it like that, you're less likely to be upset at them and jealous of them for how much they're just able to do while you're like kind of figuring yourself out. Because people, their ways of growing is still so organic, you know? It's not like all totally like this is going well processed. You know, it's really not. It's like, oh, it's like fucking people are so like industrialized nowadays. Really, what we see is that it's good. Anyways, we really see is that people are transforming beyond boundaries, and that's actually a good thing because we don't want people that are struggling to lead lives. And you know, you struggle to lead a life when you hold back. Scientific discovery, not when you contribute to it. So I'd like to be a contributor, you know. And I think because I live my life that way, people are like, wow, damn, you're fucking boring. Looking boring fast over here. But I'm just such like a believer and advocate of history, and I think that history is so like important, and once you learn about it, it's so cool. It's like you know, I might insert slight grass texture that I might emphasize during the painting process, but honestly, you guys should know you are going on a bit of a journey with me. So the things that I'm doing and the ideas that I'm having are kind of me just enjoying the ride. I'm not too worried about much. So, you know, I didn't even leave this other side of the road blank just because I started to do the line and I'm not really feeling it. I'd rather give my tree roots. Because I think one thing that we hit when we hit this property line is that, oh wow, I'm drawing boundaries. I'm drawing, you know, someone's home, but also kind of when they want to become more private in their home. So because I took an AP environmental class, I'd like to add some exterior aspects to a house that I find so interesting. So here I'm just going to insert a box, and this box is going to be representative of a generator. And it's a separate power generator to the home because, you know, maybe one day there will not be power to the house, and our owners here are aware of that. And they are prepared to do what they have to. So, yeah. As you can see, even when we draw with a ruler, if we see a visual discrepancy that we'd like to correct, go ahead and do it, because you draw with your eyes more than you draw with the ruler. And see here how this shape is sort of being weird. It's to be expected because of our reliance on the vanishing point at this point in the box. Now, we couldn't leave it like this because this shape is actually more organic and realistic than if we were to go the way of drawing actual lines. So I'm just going to get my assemblage on here, you know, because that's to be expected. But like I said, and transfer this might go away. So I'm done with all of this. I really like how it's come out. The only thing is I'm going to go to the bush and add some branches. So going very loose and organic right now because my observation and knowledge of the bush is just not quite as large and as extensive as if I were drawing. So I know I'm drawing a healthy bush. Or, I mean, I don't know how well this is going, but because, you know, I'm drawing a bush, I'm a little confused, and now I'm doing tree-like things I wasn't expecting to do with the bush. But, you know, when you draw organic ideas, you get organic results. You get organic results. So now I'm gonna get out that eraser that I just got out and did not use, and I'm gonna start erasing what is guidelines. Sometimes I think that the best art has like the most guidelines, like everything is drawn out and it's all drawn out to this like perfect way, and you know, you can tell so much about it from the guidelines, and then when they erase it, wow, it just turns into like the picture of reality. But also, I mean, there's just art, and there is art where, you know, you're at a step from making your guidelines and just remembering to do that. And honestly, you're at a step for remembering to erase them because that's hard too. Yeah. So, you know, I'm gonna leave the horizon line where it doesn't affect my aesthetic. So that would be right down here where the bush is. Whew. And yeah, you know what I'm really enjoying right now is the transfer process, because I'm just so knowledgeable of one way of transferring, and you'll see soon enough that it's like a pretty annoying one. But you know, I've been suggested to erase my guidelines before I transfer, which makes a lot of sense because guidelines can be confusing. It's mostly due to the fact that they can be misconstrued with actual technique to give form, and even misconstrued as an area to begin a shadow. You know, you don't begin your shadow from a guideline. You begin shadow from the point to which you expect light, or you know from physically observing the object, light is going to hit. So you're not really worried about, for me, this is going to be a pillar, so that initial square is something that I want to keep, but the line that showed that it's straight is not something I want to keep. Yep. Okay, so here there's also a chance to erase anything that is in the forward spaces relationship to the background, because obviously when you draw, as much as you try, you can make that mistake like I kind of did here. So because I'm drawing the actually I don't know, so I think about fences, you know, I don't think about them, you know, that supportive line that can connect them when we think about traditional fences as being on the outside. But when you think about these really rustic fences, think about like a brown fences just being the property line to a kind of old property. You can see these really organic circular forms being the fence's real structure. And when you look at these circular forms, it really emphasizes that, to me at least, it could really be on either side. Circles are so close to life just because they're so, I wouldn't say complicated, but they really bring things into perspective, you know? So I'm actually going to give this a circular, I'm gonna give this that rustic look and just put the fence line on the outside, just as to kind of broaden my fence, as you know, what a fence does is being protective, you know. And I think also the fact that it's right on that property line, it's like, you know, you don't know my property, you may be looking at it, but like you can't, you know, it's a blocker, like you can't just look into here and know what's going on, you know. So I'm glad I didn't give a lot of structure and 3D form to that fence line. Now I'm gonna go with my eraser, and it becomes tedious, this, but as long as you don't make it too complicated. And this is something, even though it's going on to be a transfer, I can even make art out of this too. I can add chalk to it and make it just an art piece on its own. But as I'm kind of accelerating the way that I know art knowledge, I really want to show that I can be patient enough with paints to make something that is nice. Because I recently made a fairy. She was really nice, but you know, you just gotta give yourself amount of time that allows you to come back and then go back and come back and go back. And as we know as artists, we do that a lot already. When we sort of decide to do something, we make that decision to like leave it alone. Oh yeah, that's all I forgot. You know what? Instead of doing that, I am just going to go with my gut on this one and do this for art and draw that horizon line. And where that line that would create more 3D form would be just adjacent to where the actual horizon line was in this kind of artwork. Okay, so obviously when it's down on the ground, you don't have to do something like that, but I'm just gonna do it real quick. And this is where I just connected these two lines in space just to not create the complication that it might be otherwise. And I am thinking about that relationship, right? I don't want to get into this too bad. Okay, so there we go. And then I'll just erase these lines too if I can, just because they're kind of in the way. This is not like the best reason, because when it takes like a lot of significant pressure, you end up erasing the things that you want to keep. And then what's really next for me, after filling in these lines that are missing, is going to be the bush. I know, right? When you're like talking about complicated things, like people who need fucking therapy or a jail cell, and then you come back and you're thinking about this, you're like, oh, what exactly was I talking about? What exactly am I thinking about? That line. It sounds like a kind of irritating process. So I am going to erase where the bush still starts. Because now I'm just going to begin the transfer process. That was honestly hard for me. So when I put this flat down like this, is it can really secure the place that I need. And so I've never heard of transferring before. People do it differently, but this is how I'm gonna do this. And you know, if you're a 3D pencil, I mean, you could go in with a lighter, like issue pencil. It's a conserved lead. You can go around what you see to be the outline, but honestly, to be safe, you're likely to end up going over most of it anyway. Where you know that there's gaps in line, that's where you can be confident enough to kind of skip out on the hatching. What you are doing is hatching and kind of putting pressure where the lead will transfer. And so while I'm doing this, I had to speak louder because obviously I'm making more noise with the pencil than I am with my voice. But if I wanted to talk about something, I could talk about how, you know, art is like a really good medium for gaining self-confidence. I know, right? It seems unexpected, but when you start to do art and you start to build upon knowledge that you already had, and then you just really, it starts to click with you, you can respect the idea that you're like a person and you're a person with value. And, you know, you had value at the beginning of the process, and now that you have knowledge, you even have value more. So, but, like, only because of the work that you put in. And so, in life, I've always really respected hard workers as being the better of society, but also being able to understand the mentality of a hard worker and know that you know, people push people a lot, and they think that the way that they're pushing people is actually beneficial, when really you can be instilling toxic habits unknowingly onto someone because they feel so much pressure to be better and do better because they've gotten such compliments on how well they're doing. And so, yeah. And so I think that is so significantly in the professional art community, just in when you want to further your education. You may be placed in rooms and kind of discussions with people that are looking at you as a way to represent themselves. You know, Bob Ross is not the, you know, universal art tincture of how artists are. Artists can be very intense people. They can be liars. So yeah, I'm talking about physical art. I'm talking about people that, you know, actually make art. But as we see in the music industry and the social media industry, where you're artist of, you know, beats and tones and shit like that, or you're artist of, you know, media, of putting things together. Even those people apparently kind of suck. That's what we found out. You know, honestly, it's easy to, like, when they kind of suck, just not give them fucking credit. Like, yeah, your fucking shitty job. But of course you're terrible. But, you know, that discredits the people that I think when we feel so bad for supporting the big guys is that the little guys are like, well, I've never done this before. And then the process kind of is start all over again and be so shitty. Because we're all like, well, turns out she would do it. Oh, like, how kind of, I'm going to talk about one of them. Allegedly, Cody Ko, in his young 20s, dated multiple people. Oh, shit. Cannot use it anymore, it's broken. But dated multiple people. What is it? Over the age of 18? Well, these, okay, over the, so dated multiple vacations in dating, and a few that can lead to, so basically, I don't know how much I want to say of it, just because it is pretty messed up. And, you know, for a lot of these things, I just feel like, well, it's not your story. This is what we got from the transfer. You know, I'm okay with that. Because my arm is getting tired. Like, let me show you better. Like that. So yeah, it's not too bad. The canvas did take some of those erased lines, which is fine. Yep. Usually you'd want to strengthen something like this with a lighter pencil, just because when you're going with a more harsher, right? When you're going with the B pencil, you're going in with a harder lead. A harder lead is not going to work with a hard canvas, right? They're both producing their own shell, right? Their own roughness against each other. And so because the canvas is more rough, I'm gonna use something actually soft, right? I guess that's the idea. I don't know. I forget what these things stand for. I just like to think of H, or this says F actually, as being hard or soft. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Jesus, this is annoying. I'm sorry to be blasphemed, but it is. Well, cause this is shit I already drew. I could, you know what, just go in with the watercolor, but you know what, I won't be complaining when the mistakes I make are few and far between, you know? So talking and obviously getting closer, because now I'm like, oh look, my hand is fully in view. I am really excited to get out of my hometown, I guess, because like I said, man, a lot has transpired, and I want to get away from that, because there are still people here that will like to think that all the landship that you did when you were younger is still like the coolest shit ever. And it's nothing against them, they just have a growing process to take on, but I'm not here to take on 2 growth cycles. You know, I'm not here to please other people and, you know, make them feel like the shitty things that they do is okay. So people knew that about me, and that's why, you know, they're trying to make this experience for me where, you know, I'm kind of backed into a corner, but that's when you refuse to quit. You don't just give in because you feel like, okay, this way everyone is doing it, and I can't even begin to add how lonely I am because I'm not willing to do it. But, you know, basically, you know, just kidding. I feel like, you know, it's hard to definitively add negative behaviors to people you know, because you're just like, you know, it feels like I still know you. It's like I know the person you've always been, not just the person that you want everyone to see and believe that's like who you are. I've seen who you are, and you're like a fine, normal person. You don't need these, you know, like this is where it really gets to be a pain in the ass. Extra attributes. You start from the bottom, go to the top, I guess. This one. To make you seem cool or like fix you, because like you're already fine. But you know, at the same time, I don't really care, because when you tell people that, you become emotional, and you know what, I'm gonna save that for any intervention I have to go to for a loved one who is hooked on crack. Because that's gonna make my life better. People who are just friends are not gonna make your life better. I'm not really gonna go into how they like fucked up my life, but you know, don't put too much fucking, I don't know what's the word, like coins on them, you know. Don't, like, you know, put a work egg in their basket, put a friend egg in their basket. Don't put a love egg, you know. Sorry, it's just like, you know, that sounds really cold, because we love our friends. We love, sorry, at least I do. We love the people we call a friend. But, you know, do you, like, love them, though? Like, honestly, that's most people. I'm like, you can stay over there. Oh, you know, because for me, it's not loneliness, and so as long as it's not loneliness, right? I like how that transfers, so I don't have much trouble with that. Please give me some here. Yeah, at least it's not a loneliness egg, right? As long as it's not loneliness, right? Right, to me. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe I'm tripping. But to me, it's like loneliness, right? And I'm telling you, I don't feel lonely. That's not what I'm feeling. I feel anger. I feel sadness. I feel disappointment. But lonely is definitely not one of the emotions, okay, of the life that I have right now with you and how you treat me. Because I think how people treat you is so big in kind of turning a new leaf. Because they'll treat you a certain way when they want your toxic behavior to be, you know, what is left of you. You know, they're like, I don't know how that looks. It doesn't look great to me, but it looks right to the camera, so I'm gonna leave it. Anyways. But you know, these fucking... And I think what's so funny about toxic behavior is it's so, like, contagious. You know, it's never just like one or two people. At least in my experience, it's like an entire gaggle of people that you thought respected you and cared for you. Just no, that was never the case. You're dumb to think that was the case. Like, I'm sorry, but it's the truth, right? Turns out I just needed a fucking extra +1, or I just needed someone extra to be there for the moment. I just, you know, and these things, if you thought about them, right? If you really were like thinking about them, you'd probably be like, yeah, that, you know, makes sense, and maybe that's something I would be okay with. But let me know that's what that is before you try and load over your fucking master logic and be like, gotcha, bitch. Like, not even gotcha, bitch. Like, really trying to claim. Sorry, my face is definitely not. Really trying to claim, like, you know who I am. Like, you know my fucking plots or whatever because you fucking got to know me. And it's like, that's not how people work. Like, you can't just be an angry person with your master plan of, oh, see, I knew who you were, so I knew that this would be an experience I could learn from. And when it's simply not that, you know, everyone is trying to figure themselves out, and so I think it's really fucked up sometimes when you're kind of living your life and then, you know, you meet people who, you know, you want to know, and then you meet them, you actually know them, you actually get to know them, you actually meet them. Like I said, you know who they are now, and I guess it's your decision how you moved on from that or live from that. And some people could say that I made the wrong one, but these are not the things that people want to talk to you about, which I think is so shitty. No, people would rather talk to you about fucking a mortgage or, you know, whatever pressing issue they're dealing with. They'd like to shadow that onto you as if it's any of your fucking business, rather than being a semblance of helpful by hearing out your problems and then hitting the how can I relate this to myself button. You know, not all equipped, to say the least, to deal with each other, right? We're all people, we all will love people, right? But we can learn really actually valuable lessons from these people, more so than we can actually love them. So, lesson learned, man. More than anything, lesson learned. So, there's no bad blood. There's absolutely fucking none. And so, yeah, I think I'm done looking at initial sketch once I add this tree here. See, I'm not going in with like total harshness. Just going in with light to medium harshness. But also, when I think with my pencil, when I'm drawing with my pencil, I mean, that's really when I really grip it tight. I'm like, what am I doing? So yeah, that's where you can kind of see my lines getting harsher, because I'm just getting closer to the idea. I want to understand it better. Okay, I'm all done now, and I'm a little tired. I think I've been recording for an hour. I actually had a bag full of some of my favorite paints, and now I can't find it. So, should I grab new paint, or should I find the bag? I'm just gonna grab new paint. I really just kind of forget where my wallet goes. Oh, I put it in here. Okay. Just grab a handful. I'm gonna come back. I'm actually bringing something. Oh! You definitely feel that. I'm gonna get a little water spilled. It's kind of a hazard of doing watercolor. I used to be really into organization, but the palette I'm using, if you were really curious about the colors, I'm adding some new colors now. But one thing that's really interesting about me becoming an artist is that I like to keep things in mind, but I also kind of just like to go with the flow, like I could have more intently these are new colors I added a caterpillar yellow from a handmade modern art company, and a watercolor in the color yellow orchardy from a covered Masters Touch Fine Art Studio company. Yeah, I'm like, fucking company. Sounds like I said that like really bitchy. So yeah, I have this brown color that I'm gonna start to mix with a red color, because I want to maybe make a little bit of a brown fence. Yeah, I said that in a high-pitched voice, but I think that's the idea. One of these new colors that I forgot to add is a zinc titanium white from the Masters Touch Fine Art Studio. Oh, that is totally unmixed with itself. There's nothing I can do. When it comes to watercolor, it's going to come out how it wants to come out. So like I said, I'm blending this white reddish color with the pre-made brown color on my palette. And I'm trying to mix this color to make the body of the fence. And honestly, the pigment is what the pigment is. If you wanted to buy this painting, let me know in the comments. I'll post it on my Etsy, and that's how I'll get it to you. What's really interesting is now I'm going to take out a credit card. And you know what? I'm not too worried about it. Debt is one thing that I really learned is in what is it called? Opportunity cost assessment to be had, right? Because debt can be really bad. Debt can be like really negative. It can negatively affect people and really become like a burden. But the type of ability to make payments without having to confer, that's also really, really helpful, because that time to confer can also be kind of negative, not necessarily on your credit score, but your reputation as a tenant. And so, as much as I am going into this housing situation, I'm also going into a situation where I'm a tenant, So, actually, I'm gonna fuck up my idea. This was not the idea. I just want to say that. And if I say that, then people will judge it less. I could actually fix it, but I want to see where this goes first. Before I'm just like, Because, I really let go of spiritism, but one thing is that interesting is that your body, your mind, your mistakes, they guide you in a way that could make your reality not what it was otherwise. All the time we're encouraged to make life so fast and make our results and our improvements so quick. We forget that, there's probably a reason why we actually weren't able to do something right. And it could be our own physical boundaries, but it can also be like divine intervention. So, it teaches me to focus more when I make my art. Oh, this is what I want to talk about. I'm going to be taking my driver's test soon. Going to be whipping around. Speaking of divine intervention, I don't think I'm going to need it for most of the driver experience, but some of it definitely. I think that's having fun on its own without me even interfering with it. It's like, look, gang, I'm just doing me. You keep doing you. I'm just doing me. You keep doing you. Type energy coming from this one. Oops. I kinda. I'm the type of watercolor artist. Then again, that is when a watercolor artist should probably walk away. But I'm like, I'm hands on. I'm gonna get rid of that water blob. Me and this water blob are not friends. I'm gonna get rid of you. Okay. We don't post a picture on my community tab for you guys to see, or just detail shots if there's any requests for that, because I'm always down to do that. Okay. Just saying, we might not get the full results tonight. Just saying, that was something I did. I mean, never say never, but to me, the likelihood is low. You got a fresh brush. I'm not going wet on wet. I think that's a recommended art style for when other artists do stuff. I don't know. When other artists are like, I'm deciding to do one wet because I want to draw a pond. I'm not drawing a pond, so take this time to add some lichen maybe to the rocks. That'll be something. And also some shadow, some darkness to my tree shape that I got going, where darkness would be. Darkness would be around the lower areas and around where these trees meet. Okay. Anyways, I am kind of moving a little faster because I got an energy notification on my phone. So that's letting me know that even everyone is tired of me. Everyone's like, let's hack this up. I'm wondering if I should move on to that fresh brush. Because if I move on to that fresh brush, then I would have done it, right? But if I let this get very muddy, well, I didn't do it, and it got muddy. It got various hues of brown when I wanted to make a more vibrant, healthy looking green. No trees on the, no veggies on the bush stall. No veggies on the upcoming tree that I'm gonna hit after this. Nope, none of it. Just wanna create that separation and then go in with more of a light green. Something over here, which you can see less, if nothing at all. Okay. Doing some blending on my palette. Okay. You can either make the tree an endeavor, or you can make it kind of a chill situation. I'm gonna make it more of a chill situation. You know, one thing about trees is that they're all around us. So when you look at a tree, you can just see a tree, but it's also kind of like a person that ages. You know, how old is that tree? How many storms has that tree gone through? You know, if you touch that tree, how rough would that tree be? You know, if you smell that tree, how fresh would that tree smell? These are things that can slightly contribute. I'm so excited to get this posted. I want you to see this. And I'm happy if you did. So, if the video just ends without a happy wave bye, it's probably because. So, one thing about rocks is they're definitely gray, right? So, I'm definitely not gonna get it. I'm gonna use this ink watercolor paint in the clear, obvious color of black. And as you can see, those little back specks, they're just specks, they're not spurts. Ended up on the paint canvas, so we're gonna just blow those away. And we're gonna add our rock. And our rock, I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but I'm gonna add some spurts of texture. And when you're kind of skilled, you know how to start the line when there's a certain type of paint on your. Look, see, that one I tried too hard. That one is gonna have a really harsh dark line. I don't know. I meet artists, and they're some of like the smartest people you'll ever meet. You know, they're so interesting. They have either all these decorative body art decisions that they made, or they have all these, you know, supplies that they accumulated over the years, or they have all these stories that they want you to hear. But you know, never compare yourself to another artist, because you never know what's going on in their life. You know, you never know the experience that they had versus the experience that they tell you. And trust me, they're not being like toxic or negative by sharing their experience. They're just trying to bring some joy to a young artist's face. But when you're a comparative person, you'll never see the joy, you'll never feel it. You'll just kind of be worried about how that applies to you. But like I said, those were tattoo decisions. Those were decisions that people make for themselves. So much less are you compared to others, as others are interested in sometimes just making you, you know, happy, making you interested in them, right? Because that's what people do, you know. You'll kind of just say things sometimes. Oh, I got a lot more green than I thought. Wow, this is, I think, an oil paint brush. So what it does is it grabs onto things. It's not expecting that wateriness for it immediately to attain the pigment. It's expecting more grip and more different experience, but it's still really good. I'm debating the color of this awning. I always envisioned it as a stone awning, so the way that I paint it is gonna be with kind of that stone color in mind. But I ran around out of that original brown I had. That original brown I had was a result of mixing purple and I think that's the color. Purple and ooh, I don't know. I didn't see that color on camera. I'm like, but might need it to lighten up for me to like it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, purple and yellow make brown, but also I didn't have purple. I used red and blue to make brown. Did the same thing because I could, my palette had some of that leftover brown, but this is just white. White, you don't mix to make white. I wish you could, but so far I've never heard of someone mixing colors to get white. You know, if you mix colors to make white, then I think you have a future in art making, man. You have a pretty good one, actually. Some good chance of, you know, amazing some people when you get yourself out there. And this would be one Studio Ghibli scene. Just kidding. I don't even watch anime. I do, but I watch anime in the genre that I watch television in, so it's not looking great, you know, as far as being, you know, what other people are like, oh, this is so interesting. Like this is the type of anime that would have a fandom because I grew up watching this, basically. And since a child, I've watched very adult things. Things with adult themes. And you know, I mean, I did try drugs young, so it's not a recommendation. But you know, even now, it's like it's the things that even other adults would agree that, like, wow, you can handle these heavy themes of violence and drug abuse and physical abuse and domestic abuse and be normal. Like, yeah, I think that type of entertainment makes me feel like the artist who made it, or just the person who made it, the director, is like tapping into more than just what the audience would like, but also tapping into the story they want to tell. And I think telling stories is just so amazing. You know, fiction or nonfiction. Okay. I'm playing up with the same brand that I used in the house because I'd rather there not be white space. Now we're getting into some places that we can work fast and kind of make splotchy big decisions. Like where the sand is. I'm going to add color and pigment that, luckily it's watercolor, all can sort of blend out. And keep in mind that my camera's dying, and that art is something you can always work on. You know, it's something you can always come back to. It's just you think, oh, you know, it's, ooh, I made this shitty, it's gonna be poopy till you know, till forever. Actually, come back to it whenever you'd like, because, oh, shit, I don't know. Like, looking, I'm like, I don't know where the line is. You know, your eye is not gonna be poopy forever if you make it poopy once. You can always come back to it. Or, like, I really am serious. You can always come back to it. And sometimes when you come back to it, you'll definitely mess it up. You'll be like, now that I've become a hard verification, now that I've had a professional education, it's surely to be better. And then you return, and it's similar, if not worse. And that's what makes people change mediums a lot, but you don't have to change mediums. You know, you as an artist, you become elastic. You become something that can work with your environment. I'm gonna make the house yellow. Should I? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't want to do the roof first, and then I'll decide. Let's see how it came out. My phone is gonna die. And when it does, I'm gonna be like, I never believed in you. I knew you were gonna leave me like this. But I'm working hard like you are. Trying to do it like you are. Let's work together, phone. Not apart. Not in a time like this. Kamala Harris for president. I really hope that someone's looking at it and they're like, fuck, I wanna do that. Because you can. Go on Amazon, buy a canvas, go on Amazon, buy some paper. I'm assuming you have none of this, but if you have this, just use it. Don't waste. And basically grab some watercolors, grab some brushes, and, you know, grab a ruler, and do some fun sketches. Don't just jump into this. After you get all that stuff, I want you to meditate on it for a week. You know, just kind of look at it for a week and be like, oh, what is all this stuff? I forgot I wanted this stuff. And then come back to it, come back to this video and paint with me. Take all those ideas that I had in the beginning and add your own idea to it. Don't just bother doing what I do, because you're sure to make something of equal greatness. But if you just want to follow along, copy those lines, go ahead and do that too. You know, if you want to buy mine to look at it, feel free to. Really get close to it, understand it. Do that too. Like I said, just comment. And it's probably like, why get rid of me so soon? I want you to understand me, to feel me, to be me. But look, really, I just made my own color by number. Go to Amazon, buy a coloring book. You know, do what you need to for you. Oh, see, I was making 2 lines, the same lines, but it's okay, because really, what comes across when you take time to do little things is texture. When it's something like this, it's not going to come across all as exact lines, and that's okay, because you're painting something. But, you know, it wouldn't be okay if someone asked you to develop it further. Then you would go in with something like this harsh black line, and you wouldn't just take this harsh black line to make more lines. You'd fill in the lines that once were, you know. You can see the vision, filling in the lines that once were. Okay. And I would suggest filling in any sparseness with actual pigment, not just leaving that. But also, I don't work with white watercolor very often, so if you're like, fuck no, I'm not doing that, go ahead. White is white. Like I said, I'm working fast. The phone's gonna die. Whew. I think I'm gonna go with a brown door. I don't know. Ask Dumbledore what door color I should use if you're in contact with him. This brown's not coming out brown. It's okay though. Some blending going, and we got a beige. Good. Almost there to a brown. That's brown to me. So I realize I want to make the gold pieces gold, and I don't know why I always do that. Give house gold jewelry. I don't know. I might go out in my house and see that it's brass, but the brass has definitely gotten old with time. So I kind of do love working with this dried watercolor more than the newer watery watercolor. Like I said, man, when you do things, feel free to let it sit for like a fucking week, because all this could improve if it just got more time. Like this, I want to keep that line consistent down, like you're a window washer. Down strokes. I know I did it. I asked Dumbledore, and Dumbledore told me, go for it. Really, I'm serious. He was like, go forth, Mumble. Oh, there it is, the 10%. Okay, let's see what we want to do. I don't know. Should I just end this video now so I have the control, or should I just go all the way? You know, I feel like I'm getting pretty far. And then what's left is, you know, green real estate and the sky. I was thinking about how I literally called something an ode to something, and I was like, is this an ode? Is this a 7-letter word poem? I don't think so. But like, it still stands, right? You understand it's an ode, right? Do you? That teacher didn't understand a lot of things I did. She still cared for me. She was still like, respect it. Respect the pimpin' but she really did not understand a lot of things I did. So, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, it is an ode. So I'm gonna let the 10% mark kind of just loom. As you can see, I'm not subbing the paint. I'm right-handed, so yeah, let us Shane may move. Okay. Next thing is this grass area, which I don't know. I have to be in patches of dead grass. Or, I don't know, get more paint out. That's an option too, but I'm gonna make this textured. Yeah, definitely have to get more grass. Oh, we're getting water. Great thing about watercolor, make it last a little longer. I just kind of add water. Can't really do that with acrylic. Can't really do that with oil. It's a unique experience with watercolor. Add some more this time it's going to be too pigmented, so I'm just gonna grab around it. Excuse me. So this 10%, I'm worried. I really am worried. Oops. Okay, I'm almost done, I swear. Maybe not. Maybe I should just give up. My charger is actually really close. Maybe I should just charge it. My charger is really long too. I think that's the solution. Okay. And there's a charger port like really close, so it doesn't even matter if my charger was long. Okay. It does add a level of hazard, but whatever. Go back to it. That's what I would say if you're an art student too. Never worry about things. Deadline is just another line. Really pretty green. Unrealistic. Not in California. Never in California. Maybe, I don't know, if like in Wisconsin, but green yard like this. Yeah, I think that's where I get my landscaping bug, because, you know, I've seen it though. I've really seen it. You drive past some areas and they're fighting for those lawns, man. I think the zero hassle landscaping is just so much easier though, and it's so much better for the environment. And it's really an investment if you live in an older house and you have something that you have to get done. But if you're not, take the chance. Go for it. Like I said, it's washable. I'm not gonna wash my charger, but I knew it was gonna be an extra hazard. So now I'm comfy, I'm talking a lot, I'm interested, but you know, maybe I should shut up. There's that too. So to make this more emo the way that some people like it, I could have even, you know, made it so that this home looked old and rustic, but that wasn't the initial idea I had, so it's not something I'm initially gonna do. I like the idea of moving near some of my younger family and then just kind of taking my art for their assignments. I'd find that hilarious. But teacher probably wouldn't. Ooh. I had to stop myself from getting on one of these. First need to open. I think I'm gonna do some clouds too. So I'm gonna grab my paint that's been soaking, my paintbrush that's been soaking. I'm gonna start with the darker the cloud. And then once you're significantly satisfied with that, I'm gonna move into the light of the cloud. Yeah. Yeah, these are cumulonimbus clouds for sure. Okay. Okay, hunty. How nice. These are cumulonimbus. For very loud, fluffy clouds. You know, clouds that recede farther into the horizon. Probably going to be more wispy clouds, but these are intense clouds. Maybe even rain clouds. So now, I was debating this decision, you know, but I'm just gonna keep going with my ideas and make this a full watercolor piece. I love that. I love that blend. If you didn't see that mistake, I'm not even gonna talk about it. So I don't hate anyone for anyone who's thinking, well, she just sounded like the fucking bitchy police. But I don't know, I'm kind of like I hate to say it, but irritable person. I don't know. It's the best way to put it, but I don't know. When you get under my skin, it's hard to get up out of it. And all the crap you do just adds to it, you know? Like, wow, just kidding. Yeah, you can tell I'm kind of someone to say something under my breath. But not with people who people would expect, you know? Oh, you're a teacher? How respectable. Oh, you're a police officer? How respectable. Oh, you're a student that vapes and does drugs and talks shit on a lot of people? Yeah, I'm kind of a bitch city. You know. Yeah. I don't feel great judging people, you know? Admitting you judge people, admitting that you don't really respect people and put people in categories. Like, what the fuck is that? Judging people to the extent that when you meet them, you can associate them with others you dislike and then put them all in a box and say, F this box. You know, but admitting something is honestly the first way to get over it. Because people say they do that because they want to be like, oh, you're not an asshole. That's actually very self-aware, but let's remember that I would meet you and I'd judge you in the same way and you wouldn't be able to tell. Because I treat everyone the same. Like, I don't know. It gets under people's skin once they know you for a while. And they're like, really? Nothing to say? But you know, that's also because, I mean, my forethought is like, you know, you can kind of revel in forethought so much that all done, you're kind of like, ooh, you know, you revel in forethought so much that you're kind of like judgy. I'm not going to detail shot of anything. So that's the entrance. Right corner. Whoop, 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 whoop. Sorry about that. I don't know, maybe add some more browns. Okay, anyways. But consider the perspective, please. So, from this idea, maybe you wouldn't see the driveway as much. Give your ideas. Okay.